Hey, what's up, Seekers? Wanugee with GoldenDragonFortunes, your K-Rap psychic, and we're going to be doing another wonderful, beautiful, very talented K-pop idol. We're going to be doing IU. Yes, IU, Korea's little sister, Ji-eun. So, hey, you biscuits and you star candy, come on in. We're going to get going. Here we go.
Yo, fans of solo artists, some are just the smartest. J Park, all I wanna do, 1 million dances next to you. Dean, Crush, Eric, Zion, Zico, Loco, Chi, Dragon, Jimin, Jesse, Surin, Eileen, Hayes, Boa, Lehigh, IU.
Hey! 안녕하세요, 여러분. Come on in. Biscuits, star candy, all you IU fans. Ji-eun fans. You know, IU is a beautiful, talented, very talented K-pop idol. She's a solo artist. She started off when she was very young. She was born in May of 1993, May 16th, in fact. She is called Korea's little sister. And you know, she started off as a young child in in a decent situation, but then things turned bad for her family financially, and they had to kind of split up. And she was raised a lot by her grandmother, and she has a younger brother, but she was raised a lot by her grandmother, so she was closer to her. And she kind of, got into, her parents were working a lot, so she was kind of on her own quite a bit. So that was her development. And then in 5th grade, they had this financial disaster, and so things changed in her 5th year of elementary school, and she had to kind of be separated from her parents. And not too long after that, she was in a difficult situation. They didn't have a lot of money. She came from poor means, so she went through a lot. And then she decided that she wanted to become a K-pop idol. So she wanted to work on her music and her talent. She's very talented. Back then, she had raw talent, and she went and auditioned 20 times. She went to 20 different companies, different agencies to try to audition. She went to JYP. They rejected her. She went to another company, and they kind of bilked her. They kind of stole her money. They conned money from her, and it was from her grandmother that her grandmother just saved every penny to help her out, and then she used this money, and somebody took advantage of her. So she had a lot of things going on, but she finally got signed up with Lowen Entertainment when she was about 14 or something like that, 13, 14. And then she trained for a year, and she debuted when she was 15 years old. And she had a pretty good hit, and so she became quite popular fairly quickly. But she had her ups and downs because they were trying to make her into a regular K-pop idol, and kind of the dancing, singing kind of girl group kind of trend that was at the time. And so she took some time before she could really kind of get out of that mold and get into her own singing style. She produced a lot of music in her early years, from 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011. Many different songs, albums came out, but and she had some success and some things that went up and down, and she struggled with weight during that period. She was diagnosed with bulimia for a while in the early 2012s, 2011, 2012, that area. So she had a lot of struggles she's been through. You wouldn't know it by seeing her. She's beautiful. She's very talented. She's got an angelic voice that's sweet and beautiful, very pure. And that wasn't until later, maybe about 6 years into her career, when she really started to find more of her voice and started to put out things that had more of her writing in it. And then she started to, do and write a lot of her own songs and her own words. And she really became very popular because she also did drama. She was on TV dramas or TV shows almost every year. Just a nice personality, nice look, really fresh. So she got a lot of endorsements. So she's very popular. In fact, she's probably the number one popular K-pop idol in Korea. Maybe not globally, maybe she's not as well known, but she doesn't tour as much, in the West at all, maybe in Asia. But she's very popular in Korea, and she's probably number one. And then 2017, she had a really kind of a monster year, because she came out after 3 years. She came out with this new album called Palette, and it was a huge success. She had the lead song was with a collab with G-Dragon from Big Bang, just before he went into the army. And this album won all the awards. Won all the awards for album of the year. She was the singer of the year. She just won everything. And she produced and wrote and composed that album. So it was all her. So she wanted more control over her artistic expression, and so she pretty much produced the whole thing. When she renewed her contract, she made one stipulation, that she wanted to have all her staff that supported her and worked with her for years. She wanted to have them all get a raise. So she's got a heart of gold. She's donated money to her high school and hundreds of thousands of dollars to education. So she's just a sweetheart, and she's very well loved in Korea. And so I want to do a little reading about her, but just tell you a little bit about her astrology first. Just a little taste of who she is. In the Western astrology, she is a Taurus, born in May. So she's a Taurus, the bull, and they're determined. They're hardworking. So she's a Taurus sun and a Leo rising sign. So this type of person is hardworking. They're artistic. They're gracious. They're pretty much what an IU is. Her Venus, which may have to do with her love, in the Western system, is that she's actually an Aries, which I guess maybe she just goes after what she likes. I don't know. I mean, she had a boyfriend, which is something great about IU. I mean, she created her own path. It's amazing from where she came from, and then she had this boyfriend. Now he was 11 years older than her. Jang Kiha, his name. He was with a rock band. So they were dating for about 4 years, maybe from 2013 to 2017. Some tragedies hit her as far as her friends. I mean, she was very close to Jong of SHINee, and he passed away. He friendship with Sully. When some of the haters were coming on online, with the tragedy of Sully, then she was ready to sue them all. She was ready to take action. So she's a delicate-looking woman, but she's very strong and very determined and very smart and very talented. I mean, she plays multiple instruments. I mean, she plays the piano, she plays the drums, she plays the recorder flute, she plays the guitar, both acoustic and electric. So she's very talented. She writes her own songs, she produces. So she's really an amazing woman, and she's only 26. I mean, in a Western age, she's only 26. And she's 27 maybe in Korean terms, but she's been in the industry, as an idol for 10 years, over 11 years now. So pretty amazing woman, amazing career, amazing things that she's overcome, her spirit, her abilities. I think she's finally starting to come into her own a little bit more, kind of getting more calmed down and maturing more. I mean, there was one show a long time ago where she was kind of maybe not fully into her own self. She was almost, disassociated with her body and herself because of what other things that she went through in her life. But it's great for her to kind of feel. You can see her maturity, that she's integrating that more into who she is, and expressing it in a way that's a little more genuine. And she's feeling a little bit more calm about. She doesn't have all that pent-up anger that she used to have when she was younger, maybe when she was 13 or a preteen or that age. So she's, it's kind of nice to see her grow and develop, and she's still, just very young. She's very gorgeous, and she's kind of a Korean icon, Korea's little sister. So that's IU, and I thought, another astrology thing is that in the Vedic astrology, Nakshatra is Purva Bhadra, and or the moon star, And what that means is that she is strong, determined, but she has some, underlying, softer belly needs. And then she has very strong values, and she wants to do good for society. And that's kind of what that moon star means in the Vedic Indian astrology. And then her Rashi, which is her actual sign in Vedic astrology, is that she's a Meena, or her sun is Taurus. And, that means that she's compassionate, she's, obviously down to earth. She is, has a desire for the good, to do good things for society and a goodwill for others. And then in Vedic, actually, she's a Pisces. She's a Pisces Venus. So maybe she's a little bit dreamy-eyed, maybe a little bit aloof sometimes, a little bit kind of hard to pin down. And then as far as Batsi, the Chinese astrology, her natural self is the horse. She's a fire horse. And so that's about movement, a little bit of impatience to make things happen. This kind of energy, a lot of energy, creative energy. Her social self, which is kind of what she is now, her age now, is fire rooster. So that's forthright, has a strong will, wants to make things happen, fairly opinionated in what she wants. So that's her personality now. And obviously she's, she gets what she wants, she pushes through for what she needs. I mean, not in a overtly pushy way, but she knows what she wants. And I think the staff that works around her knows that she's trying new things, she's creative, she wants to explore, and she wants to get things done. So that's kind of how she is now. And then and her elder self, as she gets older, that would be, she would be also a fire sign, a snake. And this would be, maybe she's a little bit more intuitive as she gets older, a little bit more, obviously I think she's going to be more into her own self more and understand herself more and all the things she's been through emotionally. And she's going to have maybe a deeper, wiser kind of disposition as she gets older. And she's pretty wise now, but kind of a more deeper, intuitive way. She's the year of the water rooster. So the water rooster is, it's again a rooster, so it's forthright and making things happen. But the water is a little bit more smooths the edges out, so it doesn't make it so fiery. So that's a little bit of her Batsi, the Chinese astrology. Now I want to talk about maybe looking in her future, because that's all about who she is, and some aspects of who she is. But I want to take a look at what's going to happen to her, maybe over the next year. And we're going to look at two aspects. One is career, and then one is love. And I'm going to use tarot cards. I got a new tarot card deck. This is it here. It's a beautiful deck. The imagery is very rich and colorful. It's a deck by David DeAngelis, and he is an artist, and he knew a pop star who was very famous in the previous century, in the 1970s and 80s, maybe that time. And that as a British rock star, pop star, who sold over 140 million albums worldwide, multiple platinum in different countries, gold, and that's David Bowie. David Jones is his real name, but David Bowie is what he went by. And he was extremely popular in the 70s and the 80s, and even into the 90s, a little later. His second wife was a model. He was actually very creative, very inventive, solo artist mostly, and he was kind of an icon. He kind of was a cultural icon for the world. I wasn't a huge David Bowie fan. I wasn't a big Bowie fan, but I liked the deck of the tarot. So I just thought I'd kind of relate it to, a parallel between IU, the soloist, in Korea of this generation, and then David Bowie, who was, a soloist from, almost 40, 50 years ago. So there's some parallels there. But I just like the deck visually and what it represents. And it's called the Starman Tarot. It's called the Starman Tarot because David Bowie had a hit song called Starman. And so a lot of this has kind of a celestial kind of gold feel. Also, another part about this deck I like that the author created, he was inspired partly by kintsugi. Kintsugi is the Japanese art of taking a bowl or ceramic bowl usually, or teacup or something like that, and that was cracked, and maybe it was an antique, and then putting back together with the use of gold. So kintsugi is it's a beautiful art, and you can see in this deck there's a lot of this kind of gold theme in a lot of these cards. So the artist, David Daniels, was also inspired by kintsugi as well as David Bowie, which David Bowie was known in the 80s for glam rock, or that's when there was big hair and a lot of glitzy, glammy things. It's kind of like K-pop now, they don't have big hair, but they have lots of glitzy, glammy, the eye makeup. They got all kinds of things on their hands and fingers and eyes. And anyway, so I got two sets of cards here, and the first row here, I kind of focused on IU and thought about her and wanted to see how her career is going to go. And then the second row is going to be about her love life. We'll see what's going on there. Since she broke up with a boyfriend a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. So maybe there's something new going on. So I'm going to go from the center and kind of go out and just kind of show kind of a passage of time. Two cards represent maybe the next every 3 months. So let's look at these first two cards for IU's career. Okay, biscuits, star candy. I guess that's the name of the fandom for IU liked biscuits, and she uses that for the males. And star candy, she didn't have a lot of early female followers, so she called it star candy because it was kind of unusual. All right, so let's see what these cards say. Okay, so I turn them over this way and then read them. So this card here is called the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups represents in this deck, and the way it's interpreted, is a little bit of an emotional overwhelm. She just came out with a new album, Love Poem. She just found out about Sully, a month ago. Now we have another, suicide, Sully's friend, Juhara from Kara. So, so she's got a lot of mixed feelings, and this is about trying to count your blessings and trying to move past that and trying to emotionally, kind of reinvent things a little bit. So that's what this Four of Cups represents. And here is the Sun card. So here's the Sun card. You can see this kind of burst of sun. Beautiful card. It represents shining and the strength to make things happen and move forward. And so obviously she got a new album out, Love Poem, a lot of great songs on there. She's touring right now in Korea and is going to tour in Asia. So she's trying to move past maybe some of these emotional things she's been through recently and trying to open things up and make things successful and kind of push forward with this sun showing up. Then if we go out maybe about 3 months or so, and then about 3 months there's the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups. The Five of Cups is about grief and compassion and trying to work through it. It's a bit reversed, but in this deck, the way reversed means to try to move past that grief or that healing, or try to find some healing and move forward, and emotionally kind of move forward. So a lot of bad things happened for K-pop this year, and for her personally, because she knew these people. She did TV shows, and they were her friends. Then the other card is the Chariot. So the Chariot, is a major arcana card, and it represents also movement, moving forward. Here, this is kind of it's kind of reversed, and what it means in this situation, reversed, is that it's about feeling a little bit scattered, feeling a little bit, maybe diffused. After touring and her new album and getting out there and all these things, so she may be, have to be careful about, just being fatigued and going through all that, and that she just needs to kind of lay low a little bit, kind of focus and try to regain her strength. And then you got maybe a little bit more, maybe about 6 to 9 months, and the Three of Cups shows up. So the Three of Cups, another emotional card. And the Three of Cups represents, kind of a celebration, a kind of an indulgence, trying to let go emotionally and just feel more, feel a bit more open, revitalized, trying to do that. I mean, it's a balance between doing that and maybe, also finding time for herself and working on her next project. So, it seems like there's a combination of things. I don't know if she's going to be busy with another program or what. But she's going to want to have a need to connect and maybe, share things, and that's going to be balanced with her desire to also, do things on her own. And so that's kind of the struggle that she's going to be working through with the Three Cups. There's some good parts of it. There's some about celebration and indulgence, but also there's going to be some wanting to spend some time alone and work on things, more independently. And on the other side is the Judgment card. This is a major arcana card as well, and Judgment represents, it's a balance about, kind of finding a higher calling, moving to the next level, expanding and growing, but not getting too caught up in, the issues of judgment and petty things, and not get too bogged down into smaller details and things that maybe hold her back and are not positive for her growth. So that's what it seems to say. And then we go out maybe about a year from now, so about 9 to 12 months from now. So this would be maybe in the fall of next year, perhaps around that time. And we've got the Hierophant is another major arcana card. This represents maybe this wanting to maybe go on a spiritual path and find a spiritual meaning. It's a little more solo in its nature, to maybe pursue things at a deeper level and a deeper meaning. So maybe that's going to be part of her desire around this time a year from now, or in the fall of 2020, is thinking about things at a deeper level and trying to find truth. And it's a personal journey. It's not a journey with others necessarily. So the Hierophant represents that. Over here is the Eight of Pentacles. And the Eight of Pentacles means, in this deck, it represents kind of an exertion of your skill and putting that out there and maybe teaching others about it as well, and putting that effort to. So it seems like she's, it seems like there's a period here where maybe about 9 to 12 months from now, or 6 to 12 months from now, she's going to be working on a new project, and maybe something that has a kind of a soulful meaning to her, and that she may want to express in new ways, in new creative ways, and it maybe starts to come together here, roughly about a year from now. So she may have some projects she's working on there that may come out then, that she wants to take action, try to express herself, get it out there, and take some movement with that card. So now let's look at her love life and see what the cards say for her on that. So the first two cards are these. And this one here is the Two of Cups. Two of Cups is an emotional card, and it represents, the Two of Cups represents love. So it seems like maybe something's coming up here. It has to do with maybe some love interest, and maybe it's kind of wanting to kind of get involved with something and kind of have the feeling of it, but also a little struggle about maybe how to approach that for her. But it looks like something may be a focus here for her as far as her love life. I mean, I think nowadays she wants to kind of keep pretty quiet about some of these things. But it's hard as an idol, but it looks like there's something maybe happening here. And the next card next to it is the Strength. The Strength card is a major arcana card. This one is an interesting symbology. The Strength is the Leo card as well, about the strength to make things happen, to get out there. This one has a kind of a female image here with it. So I think it's her strength for her to want to do what she feels best for her. I think she's, like I said, maturing and, getting into this 26, 27-year-old age, and wanting to be more of a woman and express herself that way. And she has enough independence, strength, and power to be able to do that. And maybe she wants to articulate that way, but she doesn't want to, show it around and flash it. But, I think she just wants to, I think, kind of express her own strength and power as a woman, and maybe come into terms with that, and instead of all the things that she's been up to now, which was maybe kind of disconnected with herself as a woman when she was younger, and just trying to prove herself as a person, as her idol, auditioning and making a career happen, and then maybe in a relationship with somebody who's older, because she has some issues of abandonment or not getting validation from maybe an older male figure. That's kind of been muted more. Now that she's making money and everybody's maybe more comfortable in her family, it's changed. But now she's maybe wanting to move into the next phase of her life as a woman, and maybe be more mature, and maybe kind of go more for what she wants, and just enjoy it. So something may be happening here, something may be percolating for IU pretty soon. And then the next two cards are this one here. This is the Princess of Wands. Now the Princess of Wands represents, the Princess of Wands is, this is beautiful, another beautiful card, another female emphasis here. And the way this is interpreted, I think, is that she is going to be maybe working on a little bit of a struggle about her projects and what she's wanted to do creatively. It seemed like she has some enthusiasm building up, that she wants to kind of just express herself, and maybe perhaps emotionally, and maybe in a relationship, or something certainly emotionally. And she just wants to kind of move into that, but there's also this struggle about the conflict of how that might, how that her personal life may involve a conflict with her professional life, and I think she has a little bit of a issue with that. I think she has perhaps some difficulties finding the balance of those two. We all do, at times, but I think she may have a bit of that as well, because of just her past life histories. And it's hard to integrate those well. It's, and for her, it's, I think it's been a struggle. Obviously she has to take care of herself, and she had to survive that way, so that's paramount. She has to define who she is as an artist first. But she wants to have, love, and she wants to have emotions, and she wants to have a relationship. So there may be some conflict here, because the Wands is kind of a magical, kind of magician, kind of spiritual thing, suit, but so she's maybe struggling in a deeper sense about all those things, how to balance one versus the other, the reality of independence and dependence, it seems. And on the other side is the Seven of Pentacles in this system represents another way I see it, kind of a conflict, which kind of accentuates what I just talked about with the Princess of Wands, and that is kind of finding grace and comfort in something that she desires, that she wants, that maybe requires a little bit of vulnerability and tenderness, with her need for survival, her deep-rooted need for survival, and how she has to create and continue as an artist. And that's her survival. That's how she survives. That's how she becomes successful. But she also wants some love and some tenderness. And so this is, I think, going to be a challenge for her. Comes up. Okay. The Justice card represents another major arcana card. Again, another beautiful, kind of interesting imagery. Another female imagery. The Justice card represents balance. The balance of justice. How do I find balance between career, love, personal life, professional life? There's that conflict. How do I spend my time? How do I spend my energies? How to spend my focus? And it seemed like there's going to be some struggle there, figuring out how to make that justice work, or how to balance. And the other one is called the Ten of Cups. So the Ten of Cups, again, another emotional suit of cards. The Ten of Cups represents two sides to it. One is the feeling of wanting to create something long-lasting, find something that has some permanence, maybe trying to integrate perhaps a person and family and those types of commitments. So there's that desire, but also, there's maybe still some immature triggers that are, maybe rooted in deep, seated, long ago emotional triggers that make it difficult, make it hard to find that kind of consistency and that basis of trust, because there's still this kind of subconscious history of triggers, certain abandonment, certain lack of validation, certain conflict that she's had to weather through in her life. And so that makes it kind of difficult to kind of find that consistency of and trust and a lasting relationship over time. The High Priestess. The High Priestess, another major arcana card, another female-based card. And the High Priestess represents, in this deck, the High Priestess represents to trust her intuition. To trust her intuition, to use her creative energies, to express them, to capture that strength and power that she possesses. Maybe, she certainly possesses it in her creative energies as far as what she produces in her music, and her creative energies, and her work, and her singing, her acting, and all the things she does. But she's still trying to use that talent to master maybe her emotional energies and what she wants to do there. And so she just has to learn to maybe integrate that more and not be, not kind of vacillate between, these ups and downs, these emotional ups and downs, or potential drama, or, aloofness, or that kind of thing. I know she doesn't like mind games, but she doesn't like mind games because she's, very sensitive about, the attention she gets and how she's treated, because she hasn't been treated that well in some of her life experiences. So she's very sensitive to that, but that doesn't mean she has a good skill in knowing how to deal with it or how to reciprocate. So that's, she has to kind of trust herself, trust her intuition, to kind of garner the right wherewithal to kind of integrate these things into herself more. About a year from now. And on the other side is the Moon. Now the Moon is another major arcana card, represents reflecting on a deeper meaning, a deeper level of things, not so much about action and making things happen, but more on the mood and feeling and the intuition of how things are. So I think it's a good thing. It's kind of trying to tell her that she has to reflect. She's kind of had seems like there's a little bit of ups and downs prior to this that she's maybe struggling through. But it seems to say a year from now that she's going to maybe start to trust herself more, trust her own sense of self, intuition, and not maybe succumb to some triggers that maybe are kind of deep inside of her subconsciously. And she's trying to find a way to reflect on a deeper level and kind of own things at a deeper kind of subconscious level, so that maybe she can find a better balance in her love life that these cards seem to be suggesting. That's her struggle. So it's going to be a growth period for her emotionally over the next year, and there may be some, a catalyst for that. It seems like there may be some love interest in actually pursuing a possibility. But it's a growth period for her to kind of understand and process her emotions, her deeper subconscious emotions, and what she's been through, and how to maybe interact that in a real relationship, as an adult now. So looks like there's that kind of activity going on, and it seems like that's going to have a play on her career too. That these are closely tied. That that somehow some of her emotional capabilities and her creative capabilities are in conflict and are kind of difficult to balance. And she's still evolving as an artist, but she has a better sense of that, because of her success and her growth, than she has maybe in her emotional and personal life, where there's a lot more things that are harder to kind of deal with and are more subconscious and under the surface. So anyway, that's what it says for IU. She's just a nice idol. She's just, a great person. I really admire her, what she's accomplished, what she's overcome, and the success she's had. And maybe you do too. So if you want to make some comments, make some comments down below. Social media, put on your Instagram, your Twitter. But anyway, thanks for watching. Yorobun. And appreciate you dropping in. And we're going to do more idols. So maybe you want to make a suggestion about who you want to see, what kind of readings you want to have for your idol. Or if you have a desire to know your compatibility with one of your favorite K-pop idols, who you stan, who's your bias, then just send me a little note or put it in the comments that I want to know your hour of birth, if you know it, the day, the month, the year, and the city and the country. And if you put that in, say, hey, I want to know about my compatibility with my favorite idol, then and you have to like and subscribe. And if you do that, then I'll try to get back to you and tell you what the compatibility is for you, whether it's Vedic or Batsu, Chinese or Western. All right. So anyway, thanks for all. Thanks for coming and joining us. And until next time, like always, wishing you all good fortune.
I'm your K-rap psychic. Try me twice, you'll like it. My name is Wanugee. OGs call me Wanugee. I'm a wise fortune teller and a really mellow fella. Ask me about your favorite idol. See their future, see what's vital.